Aargau Topsport und Tele1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Baden Masters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Weltelite raus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Girling-Weltklasse der Damen und der Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Baden Masters wird präsentiert vom Swisslos Sportfonds Aargau, V-Zug, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.
Good morning, Curling World. Welcome to this, the first of the World Curling Tour events this year in Switzerland. We are live here from the Baden competition. Now don't worry, the game hasn't started. We're just doing a last shot draw right here. So my name is Lorna Rettig. Welcome back to our virtual curling club room here. How have you all been? It's been a pretty rubbish summer, honestly, here in Switzerland, but it's very nice here today in Baden. Last year, I think somebody must have forgotten to ask the tourist office for nice weather, but fixed that this year. It's lovely and sunny outside, and it's a lovely late summer weekend here for this first competition in the European schedule for the World Curling Tour. So yeah, we're just watching this last shot draw right here. And I think Ramsfjell's team there just had to find the paint to get last shot in this game. Oh no, it looks like they're still practicing. They've just moved that immediately. So looks like both teams have a few practice throws, and then they'll be going for the last shot itself. Now I know some folks out there, they like to watch the last shot draw, and this should be nice, entertaining for them. So what we're doing is both teams have a couple of practice throws, and then they draw as close to the centre as they can, and whoever gets closest to the centre, they will get the last stone, the hammer for the first end. And it's quite important, you're not only thinking about this game, because the last shot draw can become very important towards the knockout stages of a competition. So you can see that's pretty good. That was touching forefoot, and it looks like that was his official throw, so no one's going to touch that stone until it comes to get measured. It's not only this game that the last shot is important for, you will have all of your last shot draws totaled up. And if there is a tie between two teams at the end of the round robin, and we need a team to go forward to the knockout stages, there are no longer any playoff games. There's no time in the schedule for that. It's only 3 days curling. So you can be knocked out by having a further last shot draw. So your total distance of last shot draws is greater than the other teams, and you can be knocked out of the competition. It's a tough way to go out of a competition, but times are tough out there, so they're not only thinking about winning last shot for the first end in this game, they will be thinking about the competition as a whole. So yeah, all 4 sheets look like they're getting measured or have been measured, so getting underway pretty soon. So that was the shot of Team Hoesli. They are playing yellow stones, but somewhat confusingly wearing red. So now we have Team Ramsfjell playing red stones and wearing white. So we'll go through that officially to avoid any confusions just shortly. Here comes the shot of Ramsfjell. Now it looks like both of the skips, the 4th throwers in these team, they are taking the last shot draw here. Doesn't have to be. Sometimes, say your lead player, they're typically very strong on the draw shot, so it's not unusual to see maybe your lead player throwing. That looks like a pretty decent throw from the Norwegian outfit there. So I think just by eye, we can tell that that red shot is going to win the last shot draw for this game. And as I said, it's not only this game they're thinking of, but that does secure them the hammer for the start and end one. So there we are. Fist bumps all round. We're not quite back to handshakes yet. We have a question from Michaela in the chat. Michaela are very much a frequent flyer here in the virtual curling lounge. Have things changed with this event from last year to this year amid the pandemic? So yes, Michaela, they have a little bit, so we shall discuss that too. It's better, is your quick answer. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Baden Masters 2021. It's the first of the World Curling Tour events in the European calendar, and our featured game this morning is Team Hoesli from Glarus Club in Switzerland versus Team Ramsfjell from Norway. So as we can see, the Norwegian team were closer to the centre with their last shot draw, so that means they get last stone for this first end, and hopefully one of them will put up the stone colours and the hammer and the score, etc. So, first shot of this game, pretty standard. Looks like a nice draw to the house there, just in the front ring. Nothing very controversial there. They may be just looking for a nice settling start, the Hoesli team. They maybe don't want to get too involved with loads of stones in play in the very first shot of the very first end. So certainly from the start of it, it looks like this first end could be fairly straightforward, which gives us a chance to say hi to our teams. Although having said that, I don't think that's got enough beans to kick it out completely. Yes, it has. My mistake. So as you were. Similar idea for Hoesli team. So let's say hi to our teams. So throwing just now, throwing yellow stones and playing with the red jumpers. This is Team Hoesli, young team from Switzerland. Their skip is Marco Hoesli. Third is brother Philip Hoesli. Second thrower Marco Hefti, and lead thrower that we're looking at just now is Justin Hausherr. And they are playing against Team Ramsfjell from Norway, skipped by Magnus Ramsfjell. Third is Martin Sesacker, I think. Second is Bendik Ramsfjell, and lead is Gaul Nepstad. My apologies to any upset Norwegian speakers out there. Do correct me if you can. So we didn't have any teams from Norway at our competitions last year. You maybe remember that the Norwegian teams were not able to travel due to inconvenient quarantine restrictions at this end and in Norway actually, and we're very happy to have we have two teams from Norway with us this year. So we have Ramsfjell that we're watching just now, and later on this weekend we have three teams from Norway. Later on this weekend we shall be watching Team Walstad, and we have a third Norwegian team, Team Nedregotten. So Norway able to participate, able to travel to the European competitions again, which is great news. Unfortunately, you probably remember that we were not able to watch our favourite Scottish teams last year, and unfortunately we won't be able to watch them this year either, which we're very sad about. They intended to play, as happened last year, the Scottish teams. They were ready to play, they wanted to come, and unfortunately it hasn't worked out again due to the travel restrictions, COVID restrictions, quarantine restrictions. It just became impractical and not very convenient for them to travel. So sadly, we shall just have to say hi to our Scottish friends back home in Scotland. So we're missing seeing them here in this competition. Well, we have quite a roster this year. As I said, we had a full roster of teams ready to play and wanting to play. We had a couple of last-minute changes due to the ever-changing pandemic situation, but we've got a lot of countries represented this year. Norway's back again. We have a team from Czech Republic that also weren't able to travel last year. We have Team Totzek from Germany that we did see last year. We have several of the big names, the big Swiss names, the Cruz and Schwaller. We have last year's winner and never-ending world champions, Team Edin. And we have the perennial bridesmaids, really, the Team Retornaz from Italy. And long-term members of the virtual club here will know that I'm a big old fan of the Italian team with Retornaz, so I'm hoping for that extra step for them this year. So yeah, we've got plenty of great curling coming up for this weekend. And starting off with our featured bash today is Hoesli against Ramsfjell. So welcome, welcome back to the WCT curling. How have you been over the summer? Let us know what you've been doing, how you've been getting on. Tell us what you're looking forward to this season. Is your club hoping to play? Still closed? Feel welcome to join us in the chat, say hi, let us know what you're doing. So, from a conservative start, this first end here in our featured game with Team Hoesli against Team Ramsfjell, two quite young teams, both very up-and-coming teams. From a conservative start, we've got a few stones now in play. The Norwegian team playing red in the white jackets, they have last shot in this first end. So you can see that red. It looks quite nicely tucked in there, doesn't it? And then they're getting a second red in here because that red on the right hand side of our screen is not maybe as safe as it looks. So Philip is probably going to go for yellow onto red, exactly like that. So you could see when that red stone was coming in how nicely lined up those yellows are. And for these teams out there, these are the top men's teams. For the teams out there, you can see great angle there, how nicely lined up those yellows are. And this is a very makeable shot for a team of this standard. So younger brother Philip Hoesli throwing here at third stone. This looks like quite a happy result indeed. Very nice shot there from Philip. So remove the danger red, and he's got two yellows now hanging about, so it looks like red's still lying, but there's a couple of stones cluttering up the middle there, and you can see that Magnus Ramsfjell, yeah, he's wondering how to start building a bit here, because both of those yellows are a wee bit dangerous. You can see most of that yellow on the left to squirt out the red. You can see about half of the yellow on the other side of the line as we look at it, that you could maybe bump into the forefoot. Yeah, those guys aren't helping him. I think it's time to move them, yeah. I think it's only the first end. No sense getting into a mess here. You could really do your whole tournament a lot of damage, actually, if you lost a big end in this first one and then couldn't catch it up again. You could do yourself a lot of damage, so that's a nice shot. That's cleared out the middle at least, cleared out one handle, so the counterclockwise handle. There's now no guard in the way of that. I've got a bit of a soft spot for this Hoesli team. They're from Glarus Club here in Switzerland. Hugely experienced in junior level, this young team. I think a couple of them played in the Universiad as well, so they've been together quite a long time, even though they're still all quite young. They've got a lot of experience at juniors. I thought they had a good season last year. They were making the playoffs in these big competitions fairly consistently. I've got a bit of a soft spot for them because I've played them a few times at their home competition in Glarus in February, which my club team and I always enjoy playing at. So that didn't quite work out for Philip there. He was trying to go, I think he was trying to go around the back of everything, just to put another yellow in play there. And you can see that he just touched that red, and now that red is really very nicely hidden. I'm not sure there's an easy way to get to that red, so that's helped Norway out a little bit. He thinks that you could double on the yellows potentially and squirt that red out, so he wants to maybe remove that danger. Yeah, I think we need to remove that danger. That's the yellow that's going to cause some problems, but they would want this red to hang around, I should think. So third thrower, Martin Sesaker. Again, do correct me with my Norwegian pronunciation if it's hurting your ears. So just a gentle weight there. He wants that red to hang around, which it does. So the Hoesli brothers having a good look at this. Is there a double on? I don't think there is. If you're just joining us, welcome to Baden. We are here at the 2021 Baden Masters. It's the first day of a weekend's curling, and we're excited to welcome a whole lot of international and Swiss guests back to the club this year. So it looks like they've decided they're going to try a similar shot to the previous shot they just tried, so to go round the back of that yellow-red combo there, try and use those two guards out front and hide a yellow in behind, and really close down that scoring area for the Norwegian team. So they didn't quite make it last time, so they'll make a bit of an adjustment. So older brother Marco Hoesli with his first shot of the day. Sounds like everyone's quite happy with it. So the line looked great, just as he said it was, but it didn't quite have the legs. So they have blocked off that curl for, or that path for the Norwegians, but it doesn't help them too much, to be honest, that shot. Yeah, I think Norway can maybe even use that yellow to try and get behind. So lovely line there. It just didn't quite have the legs to get there. As I said, outside conditions a little bit different this year. Last year was very wet and grey and thundery, and this year it's lovely and sunny. A lovely late summer sunny weekend here in Switzerland, so that may affect the ice conditions a little bit. Can be a little bit harder to maintain the ice when it's summery and warm outside. But Baden has ice all year. They have ice over the summer as well, so they're pretty used to it. I'm sure it won't affect things too much. Oh, hi to Curling Nord in the chat, another of our frequent flyers in the virtual curling club. Thank you for your help with the pronunciations. I will do my best to learn them there. So can the Norwegians use that mistake, or can they punish the Swiss team for the mistakes? I think this one's coming up a wee bit short as well, though. Yeah, I don't think, again, I think that just came up short. I think their line was exactly what they wanted. They wanted to just catch the front of that red and bounce left as we see it. But again, it didn't quite have the beans to get there. Nevertheless, there are quite a few stones now there for Team Hoesli. They don't want to lose a big end here. This is the first end of the first day of curling. And it's quite a complicated end already, so important is they don't lose a big end here. I think if they lose a one or even maybe a two, I think I would take it if I was them, because red's very much in control here.
Ja, altså, der var toleransen heller har en sak, da. Ja, jeg var bare så redd for å dra den bak de der. Det var dødt til å skje, liksom.
Men jeg får noe is, ja. Cirka forbi.
Ja, Gardran.
Vår is.
Ja, feit.
Hos et svell.
Det var jo veldig nice.
The Norwegians looking fairly pleased with their efforts, looking quite casual standing at the back there.
Ganske mange måter å få to her. Mange andre rundt da. Ja, kommer han seg dit, så er det ganske vanskelig å gjøre noe med det. Ja.
Well, this is a gutsy shot.
Ja, problemet med den staggeren her, ass.
It looks like the Hoeslis are going again. They're trying to go around the back of everything
Jeg tror du må treffe tinnen i så fall. Ja. De køler mindre der.
and cancel out all those reds. If this goes wrong, they could be losing a hatful, so very gutsy call here in the first end.
Linje, skutt! Wow, off!
He did have a go at it last time, but it was on a very different line. I don't think we've played so wide out there. Is that going to stop in time? It looks okay. Look at it bend. It's almost around the other side, but yeah, that hasn't helped him. So red line 2. Right, just overcooked it. I think I might have played it safe with that one, you know. I think those 2 reds just at the front there, I think that was a pretty makeable double, and just accept that you may lose a 2 at this first end, because now, if he gets this right, you could lose 4. Sorry, red's only line 1, my mistake. But that changes things up a bit, actually. So in that case, then, yeah, there's not a shot for a big one. I need to get my curling brain in again as well, I think. So actually there's a fairly straightforward shot here for 2 for Norway team. Not as dangerous as I thought. Quite a complicated first end then. That got everybody thinking, including me. Ramsfjell. I hope I did that better. His final shot for the first end coming now. I think he's still going for the split though. I think he might still want to touch an edge of that third red shot, that he's going to do it. He certainly caught it, but I'm not sure he's quite got the split. So nice straightforward 2, definitely worth a try for the 3. And good start there for team Ramsfjell. So that gives us a chance to talk about what's going on the other sheets. So on sheet 1, we have Hasselborg from Sweden against Klima from Czech Republic. On sheet 2, we're watching Team Hoesli from Switzerland against Team Ramsfjell from Norway. On ring 3, we have an all-Swiss affair. It's Team Hess against Team Schneider. That should be a tight one as well. And on team 4, we have a really tasty lineup. We have Retornaz from Italy against Dorp from Netherlands. And I can update you on those scores as well. So over on sheet 1, Klima from Czech Republic, they scored 2 over Hasselborg from Sweden. We haven't put the score up on sheet 3, so we'll come back to that. And it was a big score of 2 for Dorp from Netherlands against Retornaz of Italy. So we'll be keeping an eye on all those scores throughout this session as well. Now you may be saying to yourself, I recognise that name Hasselborg, and you may hear in the background a rather higher pitched call than you might expect from this men's competition, and you would be right. So the Hasselborg team from Sweden on sheet 1 is indeed Anna Hasselborg's team, the Olympic champions from Sweden, playing against Klima from Czech Republic in this men's WCT event. And if you tuned in very early at 8 o'clock this morning, you would have been able to watch on the static cam. So the static cam is always on sheets 3 and 4, so there's no commentary there, but you can watch those games as well. And on the static cam, we had Team Edin Schori from Switzerland against Team Trau from Switzerland. So your eyes and ears do not deceive you. We have 2 ladies teams participating here this weekend. And indeed, as Michaela has said in the chat, and a couple of other folks, we had a ladies team in the Adelboden WCT initial competition last year, Silvana Tirinzoni's team. And we all had a lot of fun watching Silvana's games against the top men's teams. And that's not because we were jealous here in Baden and we thought, well, that was a good idea. It was, again, a bit of a result of circumstance. So, as I said, the Scottish teams were on the roster, wanted to play, ready to play, but had to sadly pull out. And again, the organisers of the competition thought to themselves, well, golly, like, who can we ask to make up the roster on this, you know, very high-level event? And lucky us, they asked a couple of the top ladies teams. So Anna Hasselborg, I think largely considered the top ladies team in the world for the past few years, and Irene Schori's team, one of the top ladies teams here in Switzerland. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun again watching those lineups. We don't get to see them very often, as we've said. The top ladies teams playing the top men's teams. And again, as we said when we were watching Silvana's games in Adelboden last year, I think a lot of support out there for the ladies teams playing here. That takes good courage to put yourself out into the stage here against all the top men's teams. It's a big decision. So we say thank you to Anna's team and to Irene's team. We're going to watch both of them, one of their games in the round robin. We'll be watching Irene's team later this evening at 6:30 European. And we'll be watching tomorrow at 4 o'clock European, Anna Hasselborg's team against Yannick Schwaller. That should be a corker. So stay tuned. We'll be keeping everyone updated with our guest ladies teams, who we're very thankful for, saying yes to put themselves out on this stage.
Danny.
I'm sure all of the men's teams will, well, I'm sure they'll find it fun to play a new team. They also don't get to play against the ladies teams very often, so it's always interesting to play against new teams, and I'm sure every one of these men's teams will be taking those games just as seriously as all of the other games in this competition. So interestingly, this evening we shall be watching Irene Schori's team against Team Totzek from Germany. And if you have a good memory, you may remember that it was Puro Team Totzek who got kicked out of the Adelboden competition by none other than Silvana Tirinzoni's team. So it could be that Totzek team are wondering why they always get the tough draw and they always get the world champion and Olympic champion and top ladies teams to play against. So do join us for that. That's 6:30 European. Team Irene Schori against Team Totzek from Germany. That promises to be a lot of fun. Irene's team, they had a loss this morning. I think it was 5-1. They just had a bit of a tough end in the middle where they lost a 2 against the Head. And it was a hard mountain to climb after that. So the Irene's team played Traub this morning, another Swiss team. And this is Team Hasselborg's first game out this morning against Team Klima from Czech Republic.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa. In. Whoa. Andre veien.
While we're again sad that we're missing our Scottish friends, not able to travel again this year. There's a silver lining to that cloud in the shape of Anna Hasselborg's team and Irene Schori's team, who very kindly agreed to fill in at rather short notice and put themselves out there against all these top men's teams. So exciting stuff there. I really enjoy it. We had the question in the chat just on thoughts about women's teams playing in this tournament. as I said, I love to see it, you know. I think it's great to show that the women's teams can really mix it up with the men's. I think curling may be one of the only sports right now where we could really say that. I don't think there are too many sports where the top women can really compete with the top men, and I think it's great for our sport to show that, yeah, the top women's teams can absolutely hold their own and play on this stage against the top men's teams. I think that's really great. And as I said, I think it's great to watch matchups and games that we very rarely get to see. Yeah, tomorrow afternoon we have Yannick Schwaller, the European silver medalist from 2019, no Europeans last year, and they're playing Olympic champions Anna Hasselborg, so I think that promises to be a super encounter, and one that, yeah, it just came rather last minute because of external influences this year. And we're pretty excited to watch those games. If you're just joining us, good morning. We're here in the second end of our featured game at the Baden Masters. It's the first day of the weekend of this first competition in the World Curling Tour calendar. And our feature game today is Team Hoesli from Switzerland against Team Ramsfjell from Norway. Curling Nord doing her best to help me with my Norwegian language battle. And it was a well-crafted 2 to the Norwegians in the first end. But a little miss there just from that last stone from Norway gives Hoesli team a chance to make use of that. So they have that nice winger there on the left of our screen. And looks like Philip Hoesli has just drawn one really close to the hole. Very nice shot there. This is a very nice response from Hoesli team to try to get 2 points straight back again. See, that's making the Norwegians think a little bit. That's exactly what they need to do. So they want to cut out that winger. So it maybe looks like he's trying to hit that winger. He's not. That winger shot on the wings of the curling rink, as we would say, that's pretty safe behind that guard. And his better idea is to just try to follow that yellow to the centre, played by Philip Hoesli. If he can really get all the way to the face of that yellow, and it looks like the ice is pretty curly out there, then that would be very difficult for Team Hoesli to remove a red that's stuck on top of that yellow and make it very difficult for them to score 2 points. You can see that 4 stones to come. This is the first stone of Magnus Ramsfjell. Skip stones here in the second end. This looks pretty nice. It's got a little bit to curl still, but looks pretty much just what he wanted. Very nice. So yeah, that's pretty close to what they were looking for. You can see from nice angle there that it's very difficult to get that red stone out of play now. I think that could be the best idea, is to just drive that guard forward. And in a worst case, you won't have a guard there anymore. It's not helping him, and it's just giving them the chance to, Norway, the chance to go around it again. So we can have the first airing of one of our favourite tactics for this season, and that is, if you've got last shot, then removing the centre guard is rarely a bad idea. That's exactly what the Hoeslis are doing. I think they would quite like to get a run back onto the red in the rings if possible. I'm not sure they're going to get it. No, that just squeaks past, but there you can see that already looks much better. Nice and open now. I think Norway will probably just want to put it back. They're having a little look to see if it's red or if it's yellow who's actually closest at the moment. Looks like... what do you think? For me, that looks like red.
Rett over ballene er fint. Ja.
So I guess they would just want to put the guard back. They could hit that front red, their own red, and squirt the yellow out, but then they will leave a potential double takeout for Marco Hoesli, which they don't want to do. So that I think there are a better chance of not giving a 2 straight back is exactly this. Let's throw a guard and make it as difficult as possible for Marco Hoesli to remove that red stone right in the middle.
Linja er grei. Litt plass. Fin linje. Litt plass. Linja er grei. Gjerne køle litt.
You can see everybody watching that stone all the way up.
Martin, du må gå etter hvert.
The sweepers will be calling ahead
Gå nå, Martin. Hvis du
what they
kan.
think the weight is like,
Ligg deg inn, så går du, Martin.
so how far the stone's going to travel.
Kom igjen, Martin. Ja, Martin. Hard. Ja.
In Scotland we say weight, but in German you actually talk about the length, which is actually potentially a bit more sensible.
Litt panikk på linja der, men
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
vi gjør runnen litt lettere. Men
You can see it's covered almost all of that stone, and even if Marco Hoesli can get around that guard just played to the red shot, I don't think he can squeeze it out because it's going to get caught by the yellow. So that stone has found a very nice spot out front there. And it looks like he's going for the same idea as before, the run back. Philip Hoesli not sure where to put his feet, doesn't want to get knocked over by flying stones.
Det er kanskje ikke så dumt egentlig. Det er litt mer treff på den her. I hvert fall på en.
Megan, we can definitely see your messages in the chat. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching and want to say hi in the chat or ask a question or tell us who you're supporting, tell us how you've been. We love to hear it. So he's a bit closer this time,
Litt flaks at den ikke går bort to.
and he's very unlucky with that result. So he just caught slightly the wrong angle there,
Ja, bra kosta på den også.
Bakspitt.
and that ends up being one red. The 2 reds didn't quite roll far enough. One of them he got out completely, but one of those reds just stuck around, so you can see how effective that playing that guard was for Norway.
Sjekke innan her da. Ja.
Det er fremme. Altså, halvdag.
They forced a difficult shot and they did get that mistake, so
Noe bra.
bright start here for Ramsfjell from Norway.
Ja, faktisk. Så inn aften. Sjekk av. Så er det smokspill som det er.
Litt lang, forsiktig. Forsiktig. Fin linje. Plass.
We can take a little look around the rest of the scores here while they're starting off this third end.
Linja blir ganske bra nå. Linja er ganske
Over
bra
on
nå.
sheet 1, we have our special guest Anna Hasselborg's team from Sweden playing Team Klima from Czech Republic, and Hasselborg's team got a 1 back in the second end, so that's 2-1 after 2 ends over there. Hess against Schneider.
Den kom ganske langt ut I røffen,
I think
så
they
fikk
seem to
hun,
have, they must be playing all 16 stones in every end, so it ended up being a 1 to Hess in the first end.
Lenger skvitt.
They have just concluded their second end but haven't put the score up yet, so
Eller.
we'll come back to them again. And
Så inn her.
in the tasty lineup on sheet 4, Team Retornaz from Italy against Team Van Dorp from Netherlands. Retornaz also got a 1 back in the second end, so that's 2-1 to Van Dorp after 2 ends.
Sikte der.
I'm definitely keeping half an eye on that one.
Så det er ikke.
Bare fart.
Hastin
Ganske lik linje, ser du vente litt. Ok, inn er greit, men helst vente uansett. Guard hvis
You
vi
can see
kan.
Marco having a
Guard hvis vi kan.
chat with his Swiss,
Aldin.
well, not teammates, but his
Farten er viktig.
Swiss colleagues next door. All Swiss affair there, Hess against Schneider. I think that one will be pretty tight as well, actually. I think we could have 4 very tight games out there today.
Det er best det å kjøre den urørt.
classic start in this third end then, so you can see the scores up. That steal of 1 in the second end there, so Ramsfjell and the Norwegian team 3 points ahead. So they are quite happy to just keep playing towards the centre, keep putting red shots right in the centre there, and make it very difficult for Team Hoesli to build an end. So they won't mind if Team Hoesli pick up 1 point here, or they'll pick up a point eventually. But what Norway are trying to do is they're trying to stop them picking up multiple points. So this could be a good time to have our first airing of another one of our favourite tactical phrases, and that is that -1 for Norway in this end is probably quite a good result. They don't mind at all if Team Hoesli scores 1 point in this end, because then they will have last shot back again in the fourth end. There we are. That's a nice summary of all the scores just at the bottom of your screen right there. So Hess Schneider, as we thought, pretty tight affair. That's 1 each after 2 ends.
Roll zur Corner. Ist der Doppel etwas und kann rausrollen?
That Norwegian shot just dropping a bit short, but again that won't really worry them, because they've got that red nicely in the forefoot. They've got 2 red guards covering the centre, and if Team Hoesli want to score anything here, yeah, they're wise to get rid of these front guards, and they're going to have to do something about the red in the forefoot. So nicely set up from Norway, really. They're just putting pressure on Hoesli, making them make the shots.
9 is gut. 8 out, 9. Whoa, whoa. 8 out, 9. Yep, yep. Yep.
This looks like a very nice shot. Yep. He sprung the whole lot out. Centre is nice and clear and leaves himself with a second corner guard. So really nice shot there from second thrower Marco Hefti. And now the situation looks a wee bit different, doesn't it? That red's looking a wee bit lonely. Quite easy to just take a run at that yellow and squirt the red out the back. So yeah, a smile from Marco Hoesli. Well deserved. Marco Hefti just played a really smart shot there. So this is a good call here. It's the corner guards that are going to cause them trouble later in this end. So this makes sense to try to remove that. That was always the risk, though, that if you get too much of an angle, it was going to squirt across the house and move around the things in the forefoot. And a bit of a sigh from Magnus there, because that setup has worked very nicely for Team Hoesli. And now they can capitalise on that and put a second yellow in play as far away as they can from the existing yellow, to try not to leave a double takeout for Norway. Important that this stone lands. They've done the hard work. So make sure it's in the house, says Marco. I think it's okay. And perfect would be just level. He's pretty close. So yeah, it's just drifted on a wee bit. So there is a double there, as Magnus indicates, but first things first, let's get rid of one. Exactly, and if you get rid of that one and roll over to the other yellow, that's a nice result as well. So it looks like they're talking about that more controlled weight, not too big, because they want this red to hang around. We have another Swiss fan here in the chat, Caroline Osterwalder. She says, "Gut, Gladys." Let's hope so, Caroline, for the sake of good curling. Let's hope this is a good end for Hoesli team. They certainly set up a bit easier for them than the last 2 ends. As I said, this Hoesli team, really plenty of experience. They're still all quite young. They're only early 20s, but plenty of experience together and plenty of experience at junior level. So a bit of a wobbly start for them the first couple of ends, but they've come back from this kind of position before. They won't be panicking. And again, important that this yellow hangs around. You don't want it to over curl, which it has. That's a great example, though, of why it was so important to play that slower weight. Even though that shot went wrong, it over curled and caught on the guard. But because it was that slower weight, it wasn't a takeout or a strike weight, so that yellow's still hanging around. It was probably a little bit short on weight, probably not quite as big a throw as they really needed. Looks like Marco's saying, yeah, that was maybe needed more like hack weight rather than over tee. But not a terrible plan B. However, yeah, they're not going to get away with such a mistake at this level. And that's a straightforward double for Martin Sesaker from Norway. He looks quite happy with himself standing at the hog line, quite right. Always nice to get a nice double takeout under your belt. Still chances though, they still have that corner guard on the right. You can see it, it's moved a wee bit. It's only covering about maybe 10 centimetres of the house, but they can still use it. That's what they're trying to do. They want to try to draw past that red, the centre of the red. They were hoping to draw a little bit more, curl a little bit further, and then bounce in behind that corner guard. So that didn't quite work. This end is looking a bit more like a blank end now. All of the games in this competition are 8 ends. So it's still only the third end. Not panic stations yet. If it's getting later in the game, there's a decision to be made whether you would prefer to have a blank end and hold on to last stone, or whether it's time to really put 1 point on the board and start playing guards towards the middle. Nice tidy shot there from third thrower Martin Sesaker from Norway. So nothing much going on in the house. This does now have blank end written all over it. If the score is tied after 8 ends, we do have an extra end. But it's quite a tight schedule, so I would say typically everybody likes it if we can get it over and done within 8 ends. Just a bit of a practice throw there then for Marco. He knows that Norway are going to hit that out. But practice T-line throw. And just keep that weight consistent, keep that weight in his pocket. Last one coming from Magnus Ramsfjell. Again, there's that slightly gentler weight. He prefers that red to hang around and force Marco Hoesli to at least play a shot. As we said, -1 is a pretty good result for Norway in this end, and they will be quite happy if Marco misthrows this a little bit and ends up sticking the yellow himself. I don't think that will be the plan for Hoesli. I think they want to remove that red but roll out themselves, blank the end, keep last stone and try again in the fourth end. They had that end set up and just made one little mistake, and that's all it needs. So big weight coming from Marco Hoesli.
Yep. Yep.
He's certainly got the weight to spin out. And out it goes. So blank end there. And that was deliberate. Hoesli's didn't really want only 1 point. They've 3 points to make up here, and they would much rather have a strong chance at making 2 points. So I think that was a good decision. It's still only the third end. They've got plenty of ends left yet to play similar kind of strategy that they played in this end. They had it quite nicely set up, but then just that one miss cost them.
Litt svak om noe. Litt plass foreløpig. Plass. God plass. Plass.
And Team Ramsfjell, they will be wanting to do exactly the same again. They're happy to keep the play towards the centre. They're happy to not have guards out front. Guards are only helping Hoesli, whichever is the colour really. Same start then from Team Hoesli. They'll be wanting some corner guards. They rather keep the centre clean for their last stone. Yeah, we've got 4 groups of 5 teams in this competition, a roster of 20 teams. Each team has a bye at some point, and they play the other 4 teams in the round robin. We've got round robin games. We've got 5 draws today. It's a very busy programme. We've got 4 draws tomorrow. Is it 4? No, it is. It's also 5 tomorrow. So we have 5 draws today, 5 draws tomorrow, and then the semi and the final on Sunday morning. The quarterfinals tomorrow night after the round robin. That's always a good session. You've typically got 4 very tight games going on there.
Fin linje. Fin linje. Linje er OK. Litt plass foreløpig. Plass. Ja, plass. Vente på linje. Gå hvis du kan, Bendik, hvis den er foran 10. Gå hvis den er foran 10.
It looks like everyone's on their 4th end now.
Mulig at eneren køller litt mer, men ikke ganske langt den
We can update the other games going on. You can see the familiar figures of Anna Hasselborg's team to our left as we're looking at the screen just now. That was a blank end for them in the 3rd as well. So that's still 2-1 to Klima versus Hasselborg. We'll come back to sheet 3 because, as usual, they haven't quite got around to putting up their score. And over on sheet 4, Retornaz against Van Dorp. That was a 1 to Van Dorp in the 3rd end. So Van Dorp is now 3-1 ahead of Retornaz on sheet 4.
Jeg liker både her og her. Jeg liker guard. Her.
We should all be getting used now to the 5 rock rule. I think this is our 3rd season now with 5 rock rule. And you can see that Magnus has called for a guard just in front of those 2 reds. In the old days, he would have picked off that corner guard. That's the danger stone for Norway, that yellow corner guard out front. Not allowed to do that anymore. These big teams were getting a little bit too good at removing guards and getting us back to having no stones in play, so we had to make it a little bit more difficult for them. You can see how hard those sweepers are working. They'll have been working on their strength over summer, all of these teams. If you've got 3 games in one day, then that's a lot of sweeping to do. So they will all have been working on their fitness and their upper body strength and cardio. Gone are the days when you just bicycled up from your job and jumped on the ice and played. No, most of these guys, they'll be in the gym very regularly, particularly over summer, storing up that strength for the winter. And I learned this morning, in fact, that all of the countries here, except for Netherlands, all of them have summer ice now. The game really moving on in terms of professionalism and full-time athletes.
Lang is goed. Clear heavy, bold. Good tech. Lang is okay.
This is now then becoming, it's a new classic, a bit of a modern classic situation there. First 5 stones when you're ahead. So you can see that red guard out front, it wasn't quite covering enough, and that's a really nice shot there from second thrower Marco Hefti. So he's just moved those reds off the forefoot, he's moved everything around. They now have 2 yellows ahead of the tee line, one of which is behind the corner guard, and both those reds are behind tee line. So again, really nice shot from Marco Hefti. He's doing really good work setting up the ends here. This looks nice though, just that gentle weight, very controlled. He's going to pop that through the gap, and now red is lying free. So 2 behind tee, which Marco won't be too worried about. He needs to keep it in mind. But yeah, the danger stone's that one they just played. That's the one he needs to do something about. And we have put up the score on sheet 3 next door. So the all Swiss game, Team Hess against Team Schneider. That was another blank end in the third. So that score remains at 1 each after 3 ends. We saw quite a lot of these Swiss teams last year when some of our international friends weren't able to travel. That gave opportunities to some of the younger Swiss teams, say like Schneider and Hess. That gave opportunities for them to fill up those places, which they gobbled up. And they're back again to show that they definitely belong on this stage as well. That's not a bad result. So as Magnus tells us, yeah, red is lying 2, but both of those are behind the tee. And Hoesli's not in a bad position here. He has that yellow in the front, which is a danger. They can push that back, use it to drive backwards. But this is a nice aggressive call. This is exactly what the 5-rock rule was meant to encourage. You can see we've got plenty of stones in play already, and again in the old days, Ramsfjell might start hitting for home a little bit here. Norway's 3 up already. They don't need more points, but this is a nice aggressive call. Instead of removing yellows or removing the guards, they want to get another one into the middle behind that red shot. They've certainly got it behind, but I don't think it's got the legs, has it? It's just pulled up short even with that big sweep. And that's the risk. That's what we don't like to see people making mistakes, but that's why we like this aggressive game. When you make a shot, it's really difficult for the opposition to do anything about it, but this is the risk. If you don't make that shot, then you really give an advantage to your opposition to use that mistake. So while the brothers Hoesli are having a family meeting about next shot, Michael asks, oh, there's a curling hall in Baden, is that near Mannheim? And you are thinking, Michael, of Baden, which is in Germany indeed, which is not too far from Mannheim. But we are in Baden in Switzerland. For some reason, there are several places which have the same name, even within Switzerland. I'm not quite sure where everyone's imagination deserted them when they were naming the towns. But yeah, there's Baden in Germany, which is not where we are. We are here in Baden in Switzerland, quite close to Zurich city. You also have Fribourg in Switzerland and Freiburg in Germany, also confusing. And you even have two towns called Pfäffikon, either side of the lake. Good to see you, Michael. Thank you for joining us. If you want to say hi in the chat, if you have a question, or you want to tell us who you're supporting, what you're looking forward to, we love to see it. Looks like Team Hoesli here in our feature game, looks like they just want to punch that they just want to punch that yellow up a little bit, just like that. Stick. Could have done with just curling a little bit more, I think. You can see probably about half of that yellow. But good effort from Philip Hoesli, sorry.
Max hack. Du kan aldri jamme den I den, da får de slå for å ligge 4. Det derfor jeg litt glad I å fryse, egentlig. Det bare veldig risky om du går I garden, så får de liksom den for å ligge 4. Så jeg litt mer glad I å dra.
I'm from Scotland originally, as you may be able to hear, and there are plenty of towns, I think, in Canada and in the US where the settlers got off their boat, made their new settlement and called it exactly the same as it was back before. So I think, yeah, there's a small town called Glasgow somewhere, which is where I'm from originally, and Houston, where the space shuttles were taking off from. As far as I understand, that is named after Houston in Scotland, which is the village next door to mine. So it seems like our early explorers were very courageous in one way and very conservative in another. They wanted to just recreate their own town.
6. Linja er bra. Skal 5. Linja er bra. 6. Linja er nydelig. Litt mye. Wow på 6.
So, enough town naming chitter chatter. What is Norway going to do about that? Nice effort from Philip Hoesli. That was a bra shot. We in Scotland use that word as well, bra, to mean very good. You can see that angles up really nicely now, so if they would ever play onto that red again, that's exactly what Marco Hoesli is now worried about. If they would ever play onto that red again, it was a straightforward angle to squirt that yellow straight out the gate of those two reds, so Marco has to do something about that immediately. That yellow's getting a little bit lonely in the middle there. It's great to hear, Michael, that this is the first non-national team match that you're watching. I think the standard is pretty similar, to be honest. You know, certainly the likes of Switzerland and Sweden and Scotland, all of them have about, 2 or 3 or more teams who could really compete on the international stage, or the worlds or Europeans, let's say. So I hope you enjoy yourself. Let us know what you think. I can tell you there are stones in play all over the place in these fourth ends going on. So even though all of these games are quite low scoring, we're scoring 1s and 2s only. It's not for lack of trying. Right in front of our technical box, that's actually the Retornaz van Dorp game. So 2 of my favourite teams to watch. So I'm definitely keeping half an eye on that.
Hvis vi er litt hard og bumper hit eller noe, så ligger det ganske bra likevel.
Helt ned er best, eller?
Tror du det? Ja. Helt ned på nesa er bra? Ja. Du hadde her ute på dynene?
Ja, så her har vi spilt.
Ja, jeg tror det skal være ganske nære. Det er kanskje litt mye til meg, men...
Okay, so if you're Norway, what do you do here? You're +3, but you don't have last shot. I think this is a nice call. I think what they're trying to do is play similar weight to the previous shot. And I think they probably just want to boop that yellow on the nose, that yellow that's just at the back of the forefoot, and really cut down that scoring area for Marco Hoesli's final 2 stones. 4 stones to come, 2 each. Magnus Ramsfjell with his first stone here at the 4th end. That's interesting. He has that more abbreviated throwing style, so he starts already with his hips raised up a little bit. They do say the fewer moving parts you have in your delivery, the fewer places you can go off target. T plus they're saying, that sounds exactly right for weight. Could do with curling just a wee bitty more. Keep going, keep going. That's pretty good though. That's really cancelled out that red. Sorry, that's really cancelled out that yellow by having that red just bump up to it. Again, let's think about this. So now, if you're Marco, you've got 2 shots left. You need to beat both of those reds to score here. I think he's looking to see if he can somehow remove that centre red, but it's awfully crowded at the back there. I think that's a pretty difficult idea. He could do something similar that Norway just did. It looked like there's still space to come in, so just at the top half of our screen as we look at it, you could maybe come in on the clockwise handle. But then I think you're maybe just committing to scoring 1, because then I think Norway will block that handle and not let you get any more. And again, as we said, we're getting to the halfway point in the game. No chance of a blank end here. And Marco Hoesli's priority will be to try to make sure he can score more than 1 point here and try to get back that deficit. Well, he thinks he can get rid of that red. He certainly got rid of the red, but he lost one of his own in the process. But good try, Marco. Definitely in this end, Hoesli has to score at least 1. He doesn't want to let Norway get any further away. Ideally, they would like to have scored 2, but no chance of that now, I don't think. Yeah, if Norway can drop a stone just where they were indicating, just in front of forefoot, then Marco's going to have to draw right to the pin to get 1 point. Yep, just where they're tapping. That's a perfect place to land up. Other hand then for Magnus's final shot here in the 4th end. So that's great that fans like Michael have found us rather by coincidence. There is the WCF channel as well. They tend to broadcast, say, the Europeans, the Pacifics, the Worlds, that kind of thing. And we're over here in WCT channel, and we broadcast the tour events leading up to those big championships. And you can check what tournaments are ongoing on the WCT website, which is worldcurlingtour.org, and you'll find the dates and results. I think there's definitely slightly delayed results. I don't know if they're live end by end, but certainly you can find all the results on worldcurlingtour.org.
Vi må bite av firefoten, må bite av
Full
firefoten.
4, kom igjen! Full 4!
Hard.
This looks like exactly where Norway said they were going to put it. It is. And this is a makeable shot for Marco Hoesli. This is what they practice for. This is what they expect from him, actually. This is his job as fourth thrower. He needs to be able to draw fully into the 4 foot, that blue circle. He needs to be able to do that whenever they need to get out of trouble, which is around now. So makeable shot for Marco, but never nice to draw against 2 stones already in the 4 foot hidden. So deep breath, son. Big shot coming up here. He's got plenty of room. He does have that stone at the back to catch it, but I'm not sure if that will be enough. Looks pretty nice though. Just like that. What a shot. Bravo, Marco Hoesli. Great shot there. As I said, like, he makes that look very easy, but if you're a club player, you know how difficult that is. He didn't really have any backing and put it right on the hole. Great shot, Marco. That really, yeah, nice of Magnus to say that as well. It's typically a very respectful sport, curling. That's very common that you'll hear your opposition saying, nice shot there, well played. Everybody likes to see good shots, but yeah, really saved the game there actually. If that shot hadn't worked and Red had picked up 1 or 2, that would be a big mountain to climb. So quite a difference between a score that's now 3-1 at half-time versus either 4-0 or 5-0. So great effort there. Right, deep breath now. That was a exciting shot, but let's get the heart rate back down and same again, please. So now Hoesli, they've got no choice. They're going to have to play fairly aggressively from here to the end of the game. That really steadied the ship, that nice point there in the 4th end, but they're going to have to do it again for another couple of ends to make up that 2-point deficit. So still advantage Norway at the half-time here. We're halfway through this 8-end game. But good save from the Hoeslis, so hopefully that will cheer everybody up and give them good confidence for the second half of this game.
Bare fart. Fin linje. 4-5 bra. Fin linje. Fin linje.
We had a question earlier from Michaela, I think, about what restrictions or what differences we had due to COVID this year versus last year. So if you remember last year, we were all separated. The players stayed in the ice hall and the locker rooms, and we all stayed up here in the club area. And it's a bit easier to mix this year. In Switzerland, we still have a rule that we wear masks indoors in a club room like this if there's going to be a lot of people around. But I think most people in Switzerland, certainly they've had the opportunity to be vaccinated. So I think most people in Switzerland should be fully vaccinated by now. And that, of course, makes everybody safer. And I must admit, I'm not too sure what are the restrictions or what are the rules if you're travelling into Switzerland. I would need to check about that regarding whether you need to have a vaccination certificate or you maybe even in addition need to show a negative test. I think it's something like that. So I'm sure all of our players will have filled in all that paperwork and jumped through all those hoops. And the result is we're much safer this year. We still have the hand sanitizer at the end of every rink. As I said, we're all still wearing masks indoors if we're sitting together. So if you go to the store or whatever, then here in Switzerland, everyone's still wearing a mask in an indoor space, but definitely less restrictive than it was last year. So that's great to see. It was a bit lonely last year. We weren't able to invite people to the club to watch, and the teams were not really sitting together after the game to have a drink together as is tradition. Only poor old Scotland still struggling a bit with their quarantine and their lockdown, not able to travel again this year. And if we didn't have a pandemic, then you would have learned that in addition to my favourite teams that I already like to watch, I'm also a big old Bruce Mowat fan. And I was very much looking forward to all the Scottish teams, and particularly Mowat's team coming here. They, as I said, they were on the roster, they wanted to play, but had to drop out later on, sadly. But I was particularly looking forward to watching Mowat's team play. They've had a really blistering start to their senior career. They have fully 2 silver medals at world level already, and I think not one of them's 30. And Bruce and Jennifer Dodds together won last season's mixed doubles world championship, which was, I believe it was played in Scotland. It was in Aberdeen. A team very much in form, so I'm very sad that we shan't get to see them this weekend. If you somehow didn't have a chance to watch it, I cannot recommend highly enough watching the men's Worlds final from March time, I think it was, March or April. It was Team Edin, hope my pronunciation was good there, curling North, against Bruce Mowat's team from Scotland, and what a game that was. And I'm not really spoiling anything by saying I think we all know that Edin's team kept their vice-like grip on that trophy. For Edin, that was his 5th World Championship, and the rest of the team their 4th. But what a game. I don't think Scotland did a lot wrong, to be quite honest, and they still couldn't get past them. But yeah, if you just want to watch a curling game from the library, that one comes very highly recommended by me. So I'm really hoping that we can see more of Team Mowat and the other Scottish teams, because there's plenty of young Scottish teams up and coming as well, and it's really a pity that we're not getting to see them. I think there were 4 teams originally on the roster for this competition from Scotland. There's a lot of talent coming up there, and I really hope that we'll be able to introduce that to the wider curling audience. Maybe this season, hopefully.
Godt spørsmål, men jeg har ikke noe imot å fortsette å pile egentlig, når jeg tenker over det. Bare la de få åpne opp liksom. Ja, det har vært en idé.
So we're at the halfway point, just over, in our featured game here at the Baden WCT event 2021. In our featured game here, it's 3-1 for Magnus Ramsfjell against Marco Hoesli's team, local team from Glarus here in Switzerland. Oh, that was a brave sweep there. Yeah, I think a couple of glares at Philip Hoesli there. But it doesn't matter because Norway is just about to remove it anyway. And this is exactly what we said that Team Hoesli is going to have to do now for the rest of the game, really, is that they need to make up that 2-point deficit. And the way to do that is to cover up the centre, get a stone in behind, and make it too difficult for Norway to remove. And that's exactly what Marco's doing. You can see that red is lying at the moment. That red is just near the forefoot. That's actually the shot, but Marco's not too worried about that. He will continue to put up a guard, hope to get a miss from Norway. If he gets a miss from Norway, if they somehow hit the guard on the nose by mistake, or somebody comes out and falls over or something, then he will use that guard and go around the back of everything. That's a more sweeper-friendly effort there. Yeah, you can have a fist bump for that. No fist bumps for the previous shot when he made them sweep coast to coast the whole way. Big weight now coming up from third thrower Martin Sesaker from Norway. I think he's got a chance to move more than one here, but no, just going for removing the guard, keep it simple. Yeah, no need to do anything fancy here in Norway. They're +2, they've got last shot. Red's sitting there. And now the decision is, do we play one more guard or do we come around the back of everything with Marco's first shot here? That's a nice idea too, what Philip Hoesli is pointing out. You could play just a gentle weight on that front yellow, move the red behind T line and then have 2 yellows ahead of T. That's not a bad idea. Just what they're pointing out with the brush, but I think, yeah, they're going to stick to the original plan and go around the back of both of those stones. I think this makes better sense. If they put up another guard, Norway will just remove it again. So yeah, time to go for the end-winning shot here, I think. And we just saw a perfect draw from Marco Hoesli in the previous end, so keep that in mind. Even though he's going the other way, hopefully he'll feel confident placing this stone. You can see Marco Hefty on the left, sweeper. He's got his stopwatch out, and he's probably just timing that first part of the throw to get an idea of where that stone's going to end up later. And everyone's standing back, but I think this looks like a decent effort. Yeah, I don't think he could have thrown that much better. You can see the angles aren't there now for yellow onto red onto yellow. So Magnus wants to move those front 2 around a wee bit so that he can at least see that yellow at the back. So a really nice shot there from Marco. He's having a strong game today. Actually, all the Hoesli team are playing pretty nicely, but you can just see how costly it can be if you have one mistake, if you miss one shot or one half shot. You don't get many second chances at this level. Normally with last shot you would like to score more than 1 point, but since Norway are already +2, even if they just score 1 point here, that will extend their lead to 3. So this makes really good sense tactically. Let's not get in a mess. We don't need to score 2 points here, even though we've got last shot. We just want to make sure we can score 1. If we get a chance for 2, that's fine. So Martin Setsaker was just trying to sweep that to try to encourage the stone to curl. Quite a delicate technique to use the same action to do 2 opposite things. So now that's exactly what Marco was hoping for. First shot he hopes will be the one to score that end. He hopes to get a mistake from Magnus Ramsfjell, which he has. And now he has a chance to guard this up with good angles to make it really hard for Magnus to either remove that stone or outdraw it. So important shot here from Marco. They've done the hard work. Let's just finish it off. You can just see Marco Hefty on the left again. They're just taking a look at his stopwatch. Philip's got his stopwatch there as well, so everybody has a good idea of how fast the stone's coming. It's really nice, Marco. I think they've given themselves a great chance to steal this end. A double raise takeout, so yellow onto red onto yellow. That's never easy. And indeed Magnus doesn't look like he fancies that. Looks like instead he wants to just follow in the first stone of Marco Hoesli and bump up to that yellow at the back of the forefoot. But really nice play from Team Hoesli. They're really giving themselves a chance to grab those points back and take this to maybe an extra end. But definitely space for Magnus Ramsfjell to sneak a red along that same path. You may see the opposite team even using their stopwatch for the opposition stones as well. That's pretty common, just to get an idea of if the ice is changing. That's certainly not against the rules. There's nothing to stop you timing your own stones as well as the opposition. So followed that line perfectly, but nice job, Hoesli team. They really bossed that end, really left the difficult shots for Norway. And their reward is a stolen point. Great job. So indeed, looks like that fourth end really settled the ship. And 8 really nice shots there. And 1 stolen point. So after 5 ends here in our featured game in the Baden WCT Masters, it is 3-2. Norway and Team Ramsfjell are leading Team Hoesli from Switzerland, but Hoesli team having a little bit of a comeback here. While they start their 5th end, let's take a look at what's going on the other sheets. On sheet 1, they have just wrapped up their 5th end but haven't put the score up, but it was 3-1 after 4 ends. 3-1 for Team Klima against Team Hasselborg. Next door in our all-Swiss affair, Team Hess against Team Schneider. Team Hess picked up a big 3 in the 4th end, so that score is now 4-1. And in our game on sheet 4, where I think they have at least 14 stones in play every end, Van Dorp team is playing the way they know how. They are not scared to have tons of stones in play, and they're getting the reward for it. And it is 4-1 after 4 ends to Van Dorp's team against Retornaz from Italy. And by the look of it, they're playing away from our technical box, but it looks like Joel Retornaz is facing a few Van Dorp stones at this end again.
Skal bare bite 4 holder. Gjerne vente litt hvis vi kan egentlig på linje. Finish da. Litt finish på den da.
Same drill then for Hoesli team. That end worked pretty well, and they will be quite happy to play a similar end out here. Starting with that centre guard, they're happy to keep play towards the centre. That worked for them in the previous end, as you saw. That was a really nice demonstration of stealing an end. If you're learning tactics or if you're learning to skip, that was a really nice end to learn from. On rink 3, they've just put their 5th end up, and Andre Schneider got a 2 straight back, so nice job there from them, and that makes the score 4-3 in Hess against Schneider on sheet 3 after 5 ends. And on the first sheet with Hasselborg against Klima, that was another 1 for Klima, so that is now 4-1 to Klima against Hasselborg after 5 ends. Nice shot there of lead thrower for Norway, Galte Nipstad. That's quite a tricky name for me, but he's not finding it tricky today. Playing very nicely, the Norwegian team.
Det køler veldig lite når man koster her, altså. Det toeren, jeg tror den toeren køler mindre faktisk. Det greit sånn, men...
While they're setting up their 6th end out there, we can see what's going on in the chat. So let's say hi to Indy Magoo, who's catching a few ends of curling before work. That's a nice idea. Certainly in my job, I can typically have my curling on in the background. And if you're not able to have secret office curling like I can, then all of the games that we're watching this weekend are on the WCT channel. That's if you just look up WCT TV on YouTube, you will find it. That's where you are just now, and you can also find the scores on worldcurlingtour.org. That also gives you information about the other competitions going on in the men's tour, the ladies tour, the mixed doubles tour, and the wheelchair curling tour as well. So there's lots of information on worldcurlingtour.org.
Det gikk veldig rett der nå.
And this is the other Ramsfjell in this Norwegian team, Bendik.
Kom igjen, hardt for å bli liggende. Du har den, kom igjen, kom igjen. Bra det. Inn her. Ja, den er inne, kom igjen. Ja da.
Ramsfjell, probably quite a familiar name to our curling fans.
Ja, is goed. Backline.
Ja.
Out.
Ja. Edin. Uit, ja.
Out.
Uit. En jongens. Allee. Uit. Naar Groef. Go, 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 go. Oké.
Yeah, Egil Ramsfjell. Egil Ramsfjell. Familiar name. He was Olympic bronze medalist and world champion with Paul Trulsen. And great to see that Norway keeps churning out talented Ramsfjells in the curling world.
Tror man kan holde de jævlig bra her.
Still very young, this Norwegian team, but again, plenty experience. They've been to the 2019 men's curling championship, so the not the juniors, but the men's championship. And these four guys also won the 2019 Winter Universiade. So they're not strangers to winning, even though they're still pretty young.
Ja, ik ga glip plat. Oké. En de wie? Als dat wie weer nu. Ja, daar op de kaart. Goed. Ik vind het goed. Wordt. Yep.
Michael asked in the chat, is it the team Hasselborg? And yes, it is, Michael. We have a couple of guest teams in our WCT Baden Masters competition. Typically, it is a men's competition. But this year, due to pandemic restrictions, travel restrictions still in place, our Scottish teams were again not able to travel, sadly. They wanted to come. They were registered, but unfortunately not able to travel. And lucky us, the organisers looked around for two top-tier teams who could fill the roster at a rather short notice. And lucky for us, Team Anna Hasselborg said, yeah, we can play. We will put ourselves out there. And the other team who very kindly agreed to play in our competition is Team Edin Schori, one of the top ladies teams from Switzerland. They played earlier on this morning. We will be following Irene's game against Team Totzek later this evening at 6:30 European, and we will be following Anna Hasselborg's game against Yannick Schwaller. That's tomorrow at, let me just check the time, at 4:15 European time tomorrow. So do tune in for that. So yeah, we're not used to seeing Anna Hasselborg's team trailing. They're a very winning-y team. But this is new territory for them. I'm sure they also don't get much chance to play the top men's teams. Everyone's typically busy on their own tour. Always difficult playing a new team. They are trailing 4-1 at the moment after 5 ends. But I'm just having a look over, and yeah, again they're setting up end 6 pretty nicely. So definitely not over yet. If you joined us last winter, last season here in the virtual club, then you may have caught a few games from Baden, the WCT inaugural event there. And it was the same situation. We had a couple of cancellations a bit later, a bit last minute, and the organisers were looking for a top-tier team to fill the roster, and we were lucky to get now double world champions Silvana Terenzoni's team to play. And we all had a really good time watching them playing these top men's teams. And I'm really looking forward to supporting Eivind's team and Anna's team in this competition as well.
Doppel machen müssen wir riskieren nachher nochmal und hoffen, aber mit dem probiert er sicher nochmal das Doppel. Wahrscheinlich, ja. Hvis de nåser og vi dobler, tror de bare slår på siden da? Gir oss blanken. Vad sender Edin? Den kort.
I'm sure everybody would secretly really like it if one of the ladies' teams got their name on this very prestigious men's trophy. That would be a very fun curling trivia question in the future. Now, what's going on here in our 6th end in our featured game? Hoesli's playing yellow. Don't get confused with the jumpers. Bit of a team confab here. So again, really every shot here is now getting very critical for Team Hoesli. They're getting that deficit back. It's 3-2. But again, important that they don't really let Norway score again. If Norway score 1 point, it's not the end of the world, but any more than that, and it becomes quite a big gap for them to get back in 2 ends. I guess they were discussing then, how can they keep that yellow safe? Maybe they want to bring another yellow in. They want to guard the path towards that yellow. The yellow's nice shot, but red has that nice shot just in the 8 foot in the middle. So that's what all the discussion will be about. It's not a complicated situation, but they need to make sure that they find just the right spot for this yellow. And it looks like indeed they wanted to cover the path to that yellow. I'm not sure if they wanted that a little bit further in, but I think that's found a decent spot. Certainly Norway can't now just draw on top of that yellow. And using that red that's already in the rings, the red onto yellow is not so easy, I don't think. That's a very tricky angle. So now it's Norway's turn to have a bit of a think. Norway have last shot here in this 6th end. That's a good point. They're just pointing out that red right on the right side of our screen. If they could get that into play, they'd be in a very happy position. But yeah, that yellow's pretty nicely tucked in. You can see if Vice, I think it's Gauta Nebstad's the vice skip, but yeah, you can see that yellow just overlapping the red, and that means no chance to drive that red guard back. There you can see there's no path from the red just at the boy's feet there. Without that yellow played by Philip, you could try driving that red back onto the yellow, but Philip played a really nice line there, and he's taken away that shot. Caroline, our Glarus fan, she's happy with how things are going. And I can tell you what's coming up later today while Magnus is setting up his delivery. We'll be looking at 1 o'clock European. We will be looking at another Norwegian team, Stefan Walstad, against local favourites Peter de Cruz. So definitely use that for your lunch hour. I think that's roughly what they were saying they wanted to do, the Norwegians. They definitely wanted to move that yellow guard. But all they've really done is just, neutralise the shot Philip just played, and I think Marco may just want to play something similar. Next game up today then, at 1 o'clock European, is Stefan Walstad's Norwegian team against Peter de Cruz's Swiss team. That'll be another really aggressive one, looking forward to that. Then at 4 o'clock we have also uber aggressive team Van Dorp from Netherlands against Bannwart, another Swiss team. And at 6:30 we have team Edin Schori, one of our guest lady teams, against team Totzek from Germany. And so we will be covering the next game, Walstad against Cruz, and then I need to go and recharge my chat batteries, and we will be back again at 6:30 for Edin Schori's game against Totzek. And if you were following us last year at Adelboden, you might remember that poor old team Totzek lost twice to Silvana Tiranzoni's team, and they may be feeling a little bit nervous about again coming up against one of the top ladies teams. But I'm sure that will be a really fun game to watch. We'll be covering that at 6:30. So Mikael, I would say yes, that this WCT tour, it's very similar to the WTA tour in tennis. You have all the top teams competing every couple of weeks against each other. And then, your kind of Wimbledon or your Roland Garros, that's really your world or your European or Pacific Championship. So it runs very similarly indeed. Now Michaela asks if I caught the Hasselborg Edin Mastermodell special game. I did not. That sounds really exciting. I would love to see that. We haven't seen perennial world champions team Edin yet in this competition. They had a bye this morning at 8 o'clock, which I think they were probably quite pleased about, because occasionally team Edin doesn't win a game at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you want to beat team Edin, play them at 8 o'clock in the morning is my advice, because occasionally they can be a little bit slower to start at the early game. So I'm sure they were fairly happy to have a bit of a longer morning, but they will be in action in the next draw, and they will be playing, in fact, team Totzek from Germany. So we'll be able to keep an eye on that score as we're watching Walstad against the Cruz. Tough start for Team Totzek, but on the other hand, Totzek's already played this morning. They played the third Norwegian team, Nedregotten, so they've already got a feel for the ice. But yeah, Team Edin is 5 times world champion, so I don't think it will take them long to get the hang of it. Last year's champions, Team Edin, they played Team Van Dorp in the final. And they seem to be in winning mood, Team Edin. Would not be surprised to see them at the back end of this competition on Sunday. And Van Dorp's team still ahead against Retornaz. It's after 5 ends, it's 4-3 to Van Dorp. Retornaz got 2 back in that 5th end. Well worked there, and now they're on skipstones in the 6th end. And actually, it looks like Joel's just played a nice shot in there. Van Dorp may be relying on Wouter's terribly consistent draw weight to get them out of trouble. We'll update you there once we've got a score. Interestingly, I'm not a morning person at all either, but I have quite a good record at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I think it's because I have to concentrate so hard just to get my brain in gear. But no such troubles for these guys. They're having a good look at that. I think that's red. So definitely one red. And I think, unfortunately for Carolina and Hoesli fans, I think it's 2. Not impossible. So at least the score is 4-2. And we're doing a measure now for a second red to see if it's going to be 5-2. Not impossible to get 3 points back in 2 ends, but quite difficult. Ramsfjell's team maybe just a little bit more experienced at this level still than the Hoeslis. Both young teams, as I said.
Nå kommenterer du fordi de ikke har kommentator på YouTube-streamen der.
Now, if you were at Worlds or Pacifics or Europeans, the umpire would come on and do this, but typically, even at the club, you would just do the measure yourself. And curling is a very respectful game. You can trust your opponent to do it properly. They're not going to try and lean on the measure to try and give themselves a point. Yeah, so both agree that it's red. That's 2 reds. And that is now a score of 5-2 to Team Ramsfjell in our featured game here at WCT Baden. And Hasselborg fans will be happy to know that the Olympic champions picked up a 2 in the 6th end over there, and that makes their score 4-3. So 4-3 to Klima from Czech Republic against Anna Hasselborg's team from Sweden, giving themselves every chance to get this one back. Anna Hasselborg's team, I'm sure a lot of support for them out there. We'll be watching Anna's team play Yannick Schwaller's team tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock European. I think everybody's really looking forward to that one. So it's 4-3 in the Klima versus Hasselborg game. It is 5-2 to Ramsfjell against Hoesli in our featured game next door. Tight affair. It is 5-3 to Hess against Schori. They are in their 7th end. And as usual, every stone in the house in play. In Van Dorp against Retornaz. Italy lying 2 actually, but don't have last shot. And needing to think about where to place this. But yeah, as we expected, really tight, really aggressive affair with Retornaz and Van Dorp, 2 of my favourite teams to watch, because both of them are, yeah, they both have really good tactics, really nice aggressive play from both teams.
Finish good. Stand there, Phil. See, Hoesli. Nej. Ja, ball bit. Tim, kan het zijn, Phil. Finish okay. Stop. In.
Oh, thank you, Curling Lord. She says my pronunciation of Ramsfjell is definitely improving, so that's good. Just wait until we get to watch the Czech game, and then we can all have a giggle. So 7th end here in our featured game. Team Hoesli have to get 3 points back in 2 ends to take this to an extra end. Not impossible, but I think Ramsfjell's team have really just been a little bit on top of this. They've just been a little bit more comfortable in this game. Perfect start there. 2 stones right in the middle, right ahead of tee. Yeah, I think you've no choice here, Marco. I think you're going to have to be totally aggressive here. So there's a couple of choices here. He's put up that corner guard, and he could either draw a shot already in around it, or what he's going for is a second corner guard. And if you really need to get 3 points, and Marco does, then this is the better idea, to have 2 corner guards up there. You can also play a double corner guard on the same side. We see that quite often as well. But this is a smart move. They need to get 3 points back, and this is giving themselves the best chance to do it. And again, in 4 rock times, Magnus will start removing those corner guards. He's not allowed to anymore. And this is now our classic 5 rock setup for the beginning of the end. And in the old days, in the 4 rock rule, you would see a shot like this and you would think, gosh, that's just demented. Why on earth do you want more guards in play? But with the 5 rock rule, we're seeing it more and more. And I do think it's making for a more interesting game, I must say. We're definitely keeping more stones in play. You definitely see the team that's behind. So in this case, Hoesli's team are chasing. You definitely see them having more chance to get that score back. So the universal sign for Hackwe, tapping your foot with the brush. It might be tempting to throw a pile driver at those 3 and try to remove all of them, but that's not going to help him. He just wants to move these stones around a little bit. Oh, looks like that was not the universal sign for Hackwe after all. And this is a pile driver. I'm not sure that helps him though, because that yellow spun right out. And the red almost takes out a couple of Hasselborg's team. And now Magnus can go ahead and remove those yellow corner guards. So I'm not quite sure what was the objective of that stone. Definitely they needed the yellow to hang around, which it didn't. And I think they've just made Ramsfjell's life a little bit easier here. Yeah, now he needs to use that corner guard, otherwise it's going to disappear. As I said, a double corner guard isn't a bad shot here. So better short than long for plan B with this stone. Yeah, nice gentle weight from Marco Hefty here. And I can update you on the result of that very busy end 6 in our Retornaz Van Dorp game. It ended up being a steal of 1 to Retornaz, and that score is now 4 each after 6 ends. So as I thought, really tight, very exciting game over there. Lovely shot from Marco Hefty, that's exactly what he needed to do. Couple of choices for Ramsfjell. He could remove that guard because Marco's going to pile everything behind that guard, Or he could do what he's doing now and play about backline weight. He can see maybe a quarter of that stone of Marco Hefti's, and he can get to it and just punch it out. That's exactly what he's done. And again, that shows us at club level, if you'd played that nice shot around the guard, your team would be right to be very pleased with yourself. And it's a very precise shot that Norway just played there. But yeah, so he needs it even better than that. That was a great shot from Marco Hefti, but he just left an edge showing. And that's all Norway needs. So Philip Hoesli playing now. And he wants just a wee bit more curl than that previous shot. Really get it hidden from Norway, and then Norway will have to remove the guard and may give chance to Hoesli to build a couple points in this end.
Easy. Heftig nog licht. Neem ze nog.
Just like that. Although again, this is difficult because now you can see it around the other side. I think that's the better idea. Yeah, that's why it was good to get that little bit of extra curl. You could go around the counterclockwise handle, but that's a much more difficult shot than this. Let's just remove that guard. Red's still lying that shot right in the middle. The guard's the only shot that was going to cause them trouble, so let's just get rid of that.
Ja, vielleicht verstecken dort. Vielleicht verstecken. Dann ist drin auf nicht wegen dem Rot, oder?
So that nice shot from Philip Hoesli behind the guard has given our GLaDOS team a chance to try to get 2 points back here, which would be really important. So we've seen the shot, exactly the shot already, actually going around the back of that red and make sure that's hidden.
In 8, Jungs, hä? In 8, Jungs.
Nur lange. Oh. Achtung.
Nein, bis dort.
Ja, bis da.
Heftig.
Heftig. Ja.
Bis hinterher, Jungs. Bis hinterher.
Oh, Rennzeit.
So that, not a bad effort from Philip. He wanted it a little bit further behind that red. You can see it's not so far to punch that red back onto the yellow. But it's a good effort because, again, there's no double there. Even if Norway does punch that red back onto the yellow, then the yellow at the top of our screen just now, that's third shot, that's out counting the back red. And at the moment, Marco Hoesli will still feel quite optimistic that he may have a shot to make 2 points at the end of this. Yeah, removing the open stone is not a bad idea. And then let's deal with the one in the middle with last shot. I think this is a good call. Let's just get rid of that. Hopefully second point for yellow. Now, if you're a Hasselborg fan, you'll be pleased to hear they're lying 3. Don't have last shot. But did they manage to steal one there? I'll update you that as soon as we know. Again, that nice gentle weight from Norway. You don't see very often anymore the big car park weight, we used to call it, i.e. a stone strong enough to keep going all the way through the rink and land in the car park. You don't see that very often anymore because stone placements become much more important. You need your stones to hang around typically. You really only see the big weight now for removing guards or if you want to blank an end. Much more important is to get that stone placement correct and really control your own shooter stone as well. Control where that's going to land. If you're a Norwegian language fan, you will be pleased to hear that not only do we have Walstad in the next game, but we will be watching Ramsfjell also tomorrow morning. So we have plenty of chance to practice our Norwegian words. Coming up next at 1 o'clock European is the Norwegian team of Walstad against the Swiss team of Peter de Cruz. And that will be de Cruz's first game today as well. They also had a bye at 8 o'clock. So we haven't seen them this weekend yet. In our 7th end of our featured game here, similar tactics that we've seen from the Hoeslis before, that it worked for them. They put that stone, the first one of Marco's, they put it right round the back of everything. They hope for a bit of a misangled shot from Ramsfjell, and it's worked for them before, so let's see if they can get it to work again. Important shot here from Norway. They don't want to leave Marco a chance for a multiple score. They don't mind giving him one. In fact, they're quite happy to give him one. Oh, and you can just see on the left of our screen, you can see that score next door. It was a close one, but it was finally a 1 to the Czech team of Klima, so it's 5-3 to Klima going into this 8th end, but Hasselborg with last shot. So Hasselborg's team looking for 2 points to take this one to an extra end. They've got a corner guard up already. And we'll keep checking in there. The game on rink 4, Retornaz against Dorp. Rather grindy to a halt out there because there's a lot of decision making and a lot of conversation happening. And the sweeping call you can hear in the background is in the game of Hess against Schwaller. Looks like André Schneider's shot didn't quite work out there. I'm not sure what scored there. We'll update you as soon as they put up the score. Do join us again later on today. We have the game at 1 o'clock is Walstad and de Cruz. Then we're watching, hang on a minute, it's Dorp this evening, or rather late afternoon. Yeah, at 4 o'clock European it's Dorp Bannwart, another Swiss team. And that'll be on the featured cam, but I'll be recharging the chat batteries. And then at 6:30 this evening we have Schori against Team Totzek of Germany. That'll be an exciting one. We don't get to see the ladies play the men's teams very often, so do join us for those. And we can discuss whatever you want. If you have a question, if you want to say hi, feel welcome to join us in the chat. And yeah, we had a question earlier on about the what did we think about the bubble World Championship events this year, so we can chat about that. And there's Olympic qualifier coming up in December this year. We can have a chat about that as well. and we can continue learning better our Norwegian words. Yeah, I think just the one for Marco, but again, important shot. He needed to get that one. Otherwise, it was really game over. Nice shot, Marco. So that makes the score on our featured game here. It's 5-3 to Team Ramsfjell after 7 ends against Team Hoesli. Not impossible to sneak 2 points here. They just need one miss from Norway, the Hoesli team, to pile on a bit of pressure. But it should be advantage Norway. They're +2 and they've got last stone. And they should know how to finish out a game from here. So I don't think we'll see a lot of stones in play at this end, in spite of what Team Hoesli will try to do. We have Matilda in the chat as well, who looks like you're a Swedish fan and a Swedish speaker, Matilda. So we're really making progress with our Scandinavian words and pronunciations. So already you can see Ramsfjell having none of that. He does not want any stones in play, thank you. And from lead player Gaute Nipstad. He'll be throwing backline to Hackway to just try to move that yellow, but not put it out of play. Very difficult shot. I know we always keep saying it, but it is still a difficult shot, because you have to touch that yellow and just move it, but you're not allowed to put it out of play. So you need enough weight to move it off the line, but not squirt it out the side. So it's very difficult shot. And even these top teams, they don't make it every time. Nice stone placement though from Hoesli, that really long stone. There's a long way for that stone to move before it would go out of play. That was good stone placement there from that first shot from lead thrower Justin Halser. Lengish squid, indeed. There we are. Look at that big separation there. Very tricky double. And in any case, this is only the 4th stone. Free guard zone is still in operation. So Gaute will never be asked to remove both of those guards, because that's not allowed. So he will be trying a similar idea. He just wants to touch that yellow stone, move it off the line, not move it out of play. He's got an edge of it. That's not a bad result, but again you can see that was good placement from Hoesli with that first shot, because yeah, that yellow's off the line, but it's really blocking up that counterclockwise handle. So that's nice placement there. He's given himself a lot of space to play with, Marco Hoesli, with his guards. They can still be moved around plenty from being close to the hog line there. And also joining us in the next round at 1 o'clock European, our feature game will be Walstad against Peter de Cruz. 2 pretty big names there for curling fans. And we will get our first look also at Team Edin from Sweden. They also had a bye this morning, and they are playing Team Totzek from Germany. Tough day at the office for Team Totzek then. They've got Team Edin at lunchtime, and then they have Team Schori at 6:30. Yeah, now the free guard zone is over. We can remove as many stones as we can.
slår vi...
Ja, altså, de må jo ha 2, ikke sant?
Ja, det blir fort 2 rundt den corneren etter hvert eller noe.
Ja.
And Marco knows that
Så lenge de har en
if they're going to make a steal of 2 here, they need a couple of mistakes from Norway.
drar rundt corneren, og så slår vi over.
And the first one didn't get the tick, so that's left in that nice guard out front you can use.
Så bare ikke prøve på noe fancy, sånn at vi stikker
At this level, as I said, quite a difficult task to steal 2 without last shot here at this 8th end, but they'll keep trying. If they get one more mistake out of Norway,
2 sicher.
they will have a chance to make 2 points.
2, lenge is gut. 0 linie. Ich.
Ja.
0 linie.
Rush. Rush, unbedingt. Og svigt.
Yes, kom. Godt så, godt.
Again, really nice stone placement. Marco Hoesli's team giving themselves every chance to try to grab those 2 points back and get to an extra end. But they need mistakes from Norway, and we haven't seen too many mistakes from
Nee, ik weet dat niet goed.
this young team this morning.
Ja, fra Walstad.
And with added star jumps from third player Martin Sesaker there.
Zeg toe.
Not unusual that you have stones flying
Men los winnen.
at quite a speed. You have to keep your wits about you.
Skikkelig elegant fra Sessaker der, ja. Hva svett? Rett på Ekesvin. Ok. Mag er plaats voor 2 stijgen. Gaan we naar Camilla in Parkland.
Walstad, they will be feeling quite confident. They had a 8-3 win this morning against another Swiss team, Team Huerlimann.
Finish good.
They will be looking forward to starting their game against Peter de Cruz. You can find all the scores from this competition on worldcurlingtour.org
Linie is zeer goed.
and all the other WCT competitions as well. The scores are all there.
Ja, ja, pits nou, pits nou. Ja, ja. Goed zo. Is oké. 10. Ja.
As I said, nice stones here from the Hoesli team. They're doing everything they can to give themselves a chance.
Yep.
And they just need to keep plugging away and hoping that Norway give them
Hard.
a half shot or a mistake.
10-5. Yep. Wow, wow, wow.
No mistake there though. Nice shot from Norway.
Sorry, bra spilt.
And look, he even gets a nice little roll to the corner.
Yep. Is goed.
But still that guard out in front. That's just from that first tick shot attempted that didn't connect. And Marco going to make full use of that remaining guard in play and try and hide 2 stones behind it. Force Magnus Ramsfjell to throw his last shot. And you never know. All you can do is give yourself the chance, and they're playing as hard as they can to put themselves in a position to win this or take this game to an extra end.
Ja, heftig, bring ned. Bring ned, ja. Ja. Ja.
Hard. Hard. Nog een gleed.
Goed zo.
Goed.
Good solo, says Marco, and I agree with him. There we go. Again, he can't be placing these much better. They're trying to give themselves a chance to be lying to, force Magnus to play his last shot.
Yep. Yep.
Again, if you're learning curling or learning skipping,
Følg legen.
I think the Hoesli team's a really nice team to watch actually. They're typically very strong tactically. Nice shot there from third thrower Martin Sesaker for Norwegian team. And now again we have a decision. Do you want to put that guard back? And then you will still have your 2 yellows behind. Or do you want to bring a third yellow in? A third yellow just where Philip has his brush. Marco, sorry. I like that for an idea.
Dat is niet, oder?
Ja, oké, ja. Ja, nog steeds.
Det blir ganske vanskelig å ikke få poeng her da.
If you're tuning in looking for Team Edin or Team de Cruz, we'll be taking our first look at them for the weekend in the next draw at 1 o'clock European. Team Edin opened their account against Team Totzek of Germany, who had a close game, but they finally lost 7-5 to our third Norwegian team, Team Nedregotten, this morning at 8 o'clock. So pretty tough day for Team Totzek, not getting any easier out there. And Team Peter de Cruz will be playing Team Walstad at 1 o'clock, and we shall be watching that all together. Okay, so first shot there from Marco in this 8th end. He's got 1 stone left only, and yeah, I think that didn't curl enough, did it? Because now Magnus can see easily 1 stone, and he may be able to pick both of these out. There's quite a long gap between them there, you can see. But again, let's play the scoreboard here. And there is the scoreboard. Even if Hoesli gets 1 yellow point here, then Norway still wins the game. So Magnus will have that in mind. He doesn't need to do anything complicated. He doesn't need a point. He just needs to make sure that yellow does not get 2 points. So if he does this once, and then he does it again, no chance for yellow. So sensible play here.
Yes! Hard! Hard! Hard, hard, hard!
And he's got the 1. Oh, he doesn't quite get the pair of them. Otherwise, that would be almost game over immediately. And Marco has to be lying 2 at the end of the shot to give himself a chance at the extra end. But I think he has to move the red as well. So yeah, I think Philip was just indicating where the shooter had to roll to. And again, we'll see controlled weight from Marco. He doesn't want to throw a huge weight at this. Really important that their shooter stays in the house.
Yep! 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 Hard! Yeah! Round!
Pretty good effort from Marco. Really nice shot, Marco. Again, he's been pulling out these lovely shots again and again. And good for them. They've given themselves the chance to score 2. That's all they can do. They've played 8 really nice shots. We'll see that above view again. Really nice. Very, very well judged. Really great shot from the Hoesli team. But all Magnus has to do is remove 1 of these yellows. Let's just remove the open one. Keep our life simple. Sounds like everyone's happy with it. Keep it clean. Bravo, Magnus. So 1 yellow scored, but the victory goes to Norway. So fist bumps for you, Norwegian team. Great start there for Team Ramsfjell. But a good game there. I'm sure we'll see more of the young Team Hoesli. We saw quite a lot of them last season. They were consistently getting to playoffs. So they'll be a wee bit disappointed that they just had a bit of a wobbly start there. You can see like losing the 2 in the first end and then losing that 1 in the second end. I think that was a bit of a tough start for them. But a fun game for us to watch. A lot of nice curling there. And that's the first game off, so we can keep eyes on what's going on. Everyone else is in their final end. They're all in their 8th end. If you're a Hasselborg fan, you will be very happy to learn that it looks to me like Anna has an open hit for a 3 in the win. Stay tuned. And she's done it. Wow, what a great performance from Anna Hasselborg's team. You can't see it, but I just watched that last shot. And for, what was that? 123 out of 124 stones thrown in that game. Hasselborg's team were chasing. And with one last shot, they grabbed a 3, and they have won that game 6-5. So, brave ladies. We love to see it. You have to feel a bit sorry for Team Klima. They must have thought, oh wow, we're about to beat the Olympic champions. We've got a good chance here. But really strong last end from Hasselborg's team. Big smiles all round. Klima's team looking a bit like they're not sure what hit them. But credit to them, they must have played a great game as well to make it so close, really pushing it to the last shot. But everybody happy, I think, when we see our ladies teams performing well on this big stage. And I can tell you who Anna's team will be playing next. Their next game is against Team Hess, so the Swiss team on rink 3 next to us, who are currently 6-3 up against Team Schneider.
15. 14-0. Oh.
And what we're looking at now is the last shot draw for the next game. Obviously, we don't ask our teams to do any sort of last shot draw in advance of the competition, so that's why we could watch the first one before the first game this morning. But this last shot draw will count towards the next game. And I can tell you who these guys play next. So Ramsfjell, they've got the afternoon off. They can go out and enjoy the sunshine. And Hoesli's game, or Hoesli's day, not getting any easier. They will play Retornaz from Italy at 4 o'clock. You can see on the game on the left that we're looking at Anna Hasselborg throwing. Again, that's nothing to do with this game. That's last stone draw for next game. And she's fully in the forefoot. Good effort there. So 2 games concluded. That was a last stone 6-5 victory for Anna Hasselborg's team over Team Klima from Czech Republic. They were still looking a bit like someone just stole their lunch. And in our featured game here, it was a brave 5-4 win for Team Ramsfjell. There we are, you can see that score on our left as well. That super 3 in the 8th end, and sad looking Czech fellow for Anna Hasselborg's team throwing red. Here in our featured game, it was 5-4 to Team Ramsfjell from Norway. We've got 3 Norwegian teams in the competition this weekend, so we're love to see them back here at this competition. And our other 2 games are still going. They're both in their 8th end. Oh no, they're not. Next door's game has in fact finished, and that ended up a 6-4 victory for Team Hess against Team Schneider. So that big 3 in the 4th end, really dividing things in that game. And Team Hess, they will be going on to play, who did I say it was? They'll be playing Anna Hasselborg at 4 o'clock. So both of those teams coming off a handy win. And Team Schneider, they'll be disappointed about that. They're a nice, strong young team as well. And Team Schneider's next opponents, they've got a bye this afternoon. They can also go and enjoy the sunshine. And they will play Schwaller at 9 o'clock this evening. So again, their life not getting much easier. But there's no easy games out there anymore. And as I said, we're delighted to have 2 guest ladies teams here this year who kindly agreed to fill the roster when we had a couple of last minute changes, and I'm sure that none of the teams out there, none of the men's teams will be thinking that that's an easy point over any of the ladies teams. And Team Klima, that is Mr. Klima looking a wee bit shell shocked there coming down the ice. That's what happens when you play the Olympic champions. So looking forward to that. And we've only got 1 game still out there. And to the surprise of none of us, it is Retornaz against Van Dorp. Very cagey game out there. It's 5-4 to Retornaz. And there are 3 stones to come. So Netherlands have last shot. Retornaz sitting nicely actually. They've got 2 in the centre with 1 guard. So nice shot from 4th rower Walter there. Manages to remove 1 of the Italian shots, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. He's going to be facing a tricky one with his last stone no matter what. 2 stones to come in our final game out there for Retornaz and Dorp. Italy 5-4 ahead, but Netherlands have that last stone. And then Michaela, I think it'll be a quick lunch here. Michaela wonders if we're having raclette for lunch, or is it too hot? Indeed, it is too hot. We all giggle at the tourists who come and have raclette and fondue in the middle of town in the summer. But on the other hand, good for them. If that's their opportunity to have traditional Swiss food, then good for them that they take it. And then quick turnaround, because our next game is on at 1:30, so just in half an hour. So last stone here for Joe Retornaz. Italy's lying shot. And they've got a lovely centre guard. And Joel has just overthrown that slightly. So for anyone wanting to get lunch, I am a little bit nervous to tell you that if Walter plays exactly the same shot Joel just did, then we're having an extra end. And the 1:30 teams are already bringing their brushes down to the ice and doing a bit of a warm-up and so on. And as I said, really, extra end's not very popular with anyone except for the team who needed it. Well, thank you, Daniel. Daniel Hoesli. I think it's fairly obvious who he was cheering for this morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you enjoyed chatting with us. So do join us again for the rest of the games. So last shot in the 8th end here from Walter from Team Dorp. That must be very frustrating that you can't see it, but I'll do my best to describe it. He's just trying to follow Joel's shot. Joel's shot went on a wee bit too far and just landed ahead of the behind the tee line, and Walter has to just follow it in, boop it on the nose, which he has, and we have an extra end. So unfortunately, guys, we do have to pause for a minute to just set ourselves up for the 1:30 game. So no surprise that that game's gone to an extra end with Retornaz Dorp. We'll update that once we're starting back for the next game. Do come back and join us at 1:30. Bye for now.
Aargau Topsport und Tele1 präsentieren die 21. Ausgabe vom Baden Masters vom 20. bis zum 22. August. Die amtierende Olympiasiegerin bei den Damen, Anna Hasselborg aus Schweden, fordert die Herren-Weltelite raus. Das hat es noch nie gegeben. Können die amtierenden Herren-Weltmeister aus Schweden ihren Titel verteidigen? Wie halten die Schweizer Top-Teams mit? Die Girling-Weltklasse der Damen und der Herren direkt vor der Haustür. Das Baden Masters wird präsentiert vom Swisslo Sportfonds Aargau, V-Zug, dem Schweizer Haushaltsgerätehersteller und der Walde Immobilien AG, die Mensch und Immobilien zusammenbringen.